Hi, I am going to do a quick demo of the integration of Denodo with HPE Vertica. Denodo includes a specific adapter for HPE Vertica to connect and query HPE Vertica from Denodo. And thanks to this, users will be able to integrate HPE Vertica into the logical data warehouse architecture they have created using Denodo. In Denodo, to create a connection to Vertica, I have to create a JDBC data source. To do this, you have to open the Denodo administration tool that I have already opened here, log in, and then click File, New, Data Source, JDBC. In this wizard, I have to provide a name for the new data source. For example, DS JDBC Vertica. Then I have to select the appropriate adapter. As you can see, there are a lot of them. And in this case, I'm going to select Vertica 7. Now I'm going to paste the URI to the database, the login, and the password. As the checkbox test connection here is selected, when I click Save, Denodo is going to check that this database is accessible from the host where the Denodo server is running, and also that the login and the password are correct. So I click Save, and as I didn't get any error, it means that everything is correct. You can see the new data source here on the left side of the administration tool in the elements tree. The next step I have to do is to create what in Denodo we call base views. A base view represents tables and views of the database in the case when the sources are databases. If the source are web services, base view represents an operation of that web service. So what I'm going to do is click Create Base View, and you can see the schemas of the database: online sales, public, store, and the ones I am interested in now are online sales and public. The tool shows me the tables and the views that I have on the database. In this case, I don't have any views, that's why you cannot see them. And also for each table, you can see its fields, some information about each field, and the type. In this example, what I'm going to do is create a base view for each table of the schemas online sales and public. To do this, I just select the checkbox of the schema, and you can see all the tables are selected when I do this, and then I also select public. Now I click Create Selected, and then now it starts creating the base views. I click OK, and now you can see them all here. Now I can I can leave the JDBC data source open here. Now from the elements tree, I can expand one of the base views and see the list of fields of each view. And if I click on one of them, I can see more information. Each base view has a tooltip with more information about each field. This green key means that the field call center key is the one that forms the primary key of the view. Although in this case, I'm just going to show you how to query data from Vertica. In a real-life scenario, what you do is usually execute a query that involves querying Vertica and other data sources to be able to solve that query that you are executing. But we are not going to do this now. What I'm going to do is going to execute a relatively easy query. It's just a select asterisk from an inner join of two views with a where condition. This is the SQL shell where you can execute any queries to test if the result that is what you expect. So I click execute and I get the result, 13 rows. Besides looking at the results of the query, I can also click execution trace to see information about the execution plan that Denodo used to execute this query. In this case, as all the information came from the data source, from the same data source, the Denodo pushes the entire query to the database, in this case Vertica. You can see here the SQL statement that Denodo pulls down to Vertica, which is very similar to what I have executed. What I have shown you now is how to use Denodo to query data that is stored in Vertica. But in addition, Denodo can also store cached data in Vertica. The cache engine of Denodo allows you to store data from sources that are slow. For example, let's say that you are retrieving data from an external service that is only accessible with HTTP and besides is slow. In this case, you might want to cache the data set that service returns. And in the case of Denodo, you can select a lot of databases to store the cached data, and among others, you can select Vertica. And this is the end of this short demo.